Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. led the struggle for equal economic, political, and social opportunities for all, a struggle that continues today. During Dr. King's March on Washington in 1963, activists, athletes, scholars, families, and people of many different races and backgrounds came together to advocate for equality in their communities. His legacy lives on today and inspires many individuals to carry out his dream and make a difference in their communities. This year, we asked students across Arlington County to celebrate the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We asked the question, incorporating a quote from Dr. King, describe in writing or through visual arts how you, as a student, can get involved, take a stand, and support Dr. King's mission and vision for equality and inspire a more equitable, inclusive, and peaceful Virginia.
I just wanted to tell you that this quick video, Dr. Martin Luther King, he was a great guy and he shined like a lighthouse. And I draw this because he shined like the lighthouse, and I'm gonna shine like a lighthouse for my classmates.
The reason why I chose a poem was because I love all the words and like all the feelings that you get from it once you start reading it. My poem is called Do What's Right, and it's inspired by Martin Luther King Jr.'s quote, "The time is always right to do something right," and I do have to agree with that. Thank you, Arlington Public Schools. It's just a really big honor to be in second place, and when I heard the news, I couldn't believe it. Thank you.
I chose darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. As my quote for my poem because it really stood out to me. We have so many problems in this world, and we just keep adding fuel to the fire by adding darkness and hate. But if we just do what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said to do and add love and light, we'll solve our problems together. Like I said in my poem, it only takes one word, one smile, one action to set a chain reaction and change the world. Thank you.
Quote, "The time is right to do right," is the quote that inspired me to make a digital drawing. This quote is a symbol to me of Dr. Martin Luther King's dream to make the world a better place.
I had a small idea that inspired me. I just kept on thinking, everybody's equal, and then suddenly all the words and pictures just spilled out onto paper. I have one quote from Dr. Martin Luther King that inspired me, that I put it into my artwork. It is, "The time is always right to do what is right."
The quote that inspired me by Martin Luther King Jr. was, "I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear." So I created hearts using different skin colors to represent all of us. I then used those colors to fill in Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I believe it's important that we should stick to love even during these hard times. Thank you for this honor.
I thought it was important to remember Dr. Martin Luther King, a great civil rights leader, and I chose "You can kill the dreamer, but you can't kill the dream" because it shows his civil rights movement kept moving on even after Dr. Martin Luther King passed away.
I wrote a poem about the impact and inspiration Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had and continues to have on our society. The Dr. King quote I incorporated in my poem was, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that." I chose this quote because his words are strong and empowering, yet so peaceful. The best part about Dr. King's words is that they also illustrate his accomplishments. His love, his heart, his courage, all fought hate, and in the end, they won. The strongest message that came through to me was to stand up for what you believe in, and that no matter who you are, you have a voice. In my mind, he sparked a fire with words, and made me want to do the same. It inspired me to write about him, his accomplishments, and the people he has inspired today across the world.
And something that inspired my writing is real-world events from the past 2 years, like George Floyd's death and Breonna Taylor's death, and the Black Lives Matter movement.
In my poem, I incorporated the quote, "We may have all come on different ships, but we're in the same boat now," to write a poem about the history of immigration and how, although we may have all come from different places, we're all Americans now.
What inspired me for my artwork was the fact that there is so much diversity in the world, but we can still live and cooperate together peacefully. This is the reason why I also use black and white magazine papers for my artwork. Why I chose the quote, "You can't kill the dreamer, but you can kill the dream." This was because it also relates to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. himself. His view of racial equality has progressed so far in the past years, and it has also inspired others to fight for what is right.
So my inspiration for this photo, going into it, I knew I wanted to do something with hands. I knew I wanted to do something with different races. So I called my friends and I was like, can you guys please help me with this? Here's my idea, this is what I want to do. And they were more than happy to do it. And I was so happy because it turned out beautiful. And I didn't exactly pick a Martin Luther King Jr. quote, but I did kind of go with like his overall idea of we're all in this together, we can rely on each other through thick and thin. We have each other's backs, and in the end I chose "We Rise as One" because it really embodies that image the most and what he stood for.
I did an essay for the MLK contest because I thought that would be great to express myself and express my feelings and emotions on many problems that we're facing today in our society in America, such as discrimination and racism. We've seen many discrimination problems, such as the one that happened to Asians. Asians were getting kicked, shoved, pushed. They were experiencing so much pain because people blamed them that they were bringing COVID-19 in the US. So as Dr. King said, we must live together as brothers or we will perish together as fools. We shouldn't discriminate against each other based on the color of our skin or where we come from, such as our ethnicity and our background. We're all humans, we're all people. Why should we discriminate against each other? That doesn't make sense. And we're only gonna perish if we don't succeed, and we're only not gonna succeed if we keep discriminating, if we keep following this racism idea. It doesn't make sense at all. We need to see each other as equal people and live together and live in this society as one whole, as one group of people. And we're only gonna do that, again, by not discriminating against each other and by not keeping up with racism. Thank you.